Standing on the top now. No, nothing can move you.
Now, I'm going to talk about a subject. I'm going to talk about it in more detail later on in the week. I think there's a couple people who already dealt with this subject, and I advise you to go watch them, how they go more in detail with this particular subject. But Michigan right now, uh, the Michigan legislator uh, is trying to pass legislation where residents will face 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine for using wrong pronouns. Now, I got to look at the legislation to see if this is true, because this doesn't sound American. This is against free speech and a whole lot of other things. If you're Michigan residents, you can face 5 years of prison and 10 years of fine for misusing somebody's a word describing somebody, I guess. It says Michigan residents could be slapped with a 5-year prison sentence or a whopping $10,000 fine for calling someone their non-preferred gender pronoun under the new bill. So, like I told you, there was a lady in New York City, came to the place where I worked at, and she looked just like Clint Eastwood.
You gotta ask yourself a question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Looked just like Dirty Harry. And I basically asked her, how was your commute, ma'am? I mean, how was your commute, sir? And she said, I'm not a sir, I'm a ma'am. Do I look like a sir? Now, I don't want to tell the truth. Hell yeah, you look like a sir. You look like Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry. But I apologize for that, for the mistake. It's going to get to the point where people are going to be defensive over how you approach them. That's why I approach you as a human being, identity. And it's kind of hard in situations like that because people go all out to try to fit who they feel they are, who they think they are, and who they feel they are. Because this whole thing is about the senses. I feel like, I identify as, I think I am, I believe I am. Michigan residents could be slapped with a 5-year sentence. Michigan House of Representatives have passed a hate speech bill. How are you going to pass a bill criminalizing hate speech? HB 4474, criminalizing the use of hate speech. Criminalizing the use of hate speech. This is America. I don't care how much hate speech you speak to me. I don't want you to go to jail for you because you call me the N word. I could care less. Your mama. Your mama. Now y'all want to criminalize hate speech. And you know it ain't the Republican doing this because they need to have the freedom to use hate speech. It's the Democrats. This means that if anyone uses words causing someone to feel terrorized, frightened, or threatened, including using a gender pronoun the threatened person does not identify with, they could end up in jail time. Now, I got to look at this law. Or I'm going to have some, there's a few people that I listen to when it comes to going through the details of certain laws. One is the Information Man, and the other one is Jason Black, and a couple other people. And I listen to their takes on these things because I'm not a lawyer and I don't understand legalese. I provide service that connect people to attorneys, but I'm not an attorney. It basically says this means that if anyone use words causing someone to feel terrorized, frightened, or threatened, including using a gender pronoun the threatened person does not identify with, they could end up in jail time. And that would be wrong. That would be wrong. But let me get to it. The bill lists sexual orientation and gender identity or expression as protected class. The bill lists sexual orientation and gender identity or expression as a protected class. So if you identify with a sexual orientation or gender or expression, and somebody don't roll with you on that, then they're breaking the laws. Now, I know some of you who are in that community love this. But I'm telling you, that's unconstitutional. Free speech is free speech. I should be able to say what I want to say. You just got to either chin up, ignore me, or keep it moving. Offenders could face up to 5 years in prison for committing such a felony offense. They could also be slapped with a staggering $10,000 fine. The bill reads intimidate means a willful course of conduct involving repeat or continuing harassment of another individual that would cause a reasonable individual to feel terrorized, frightened, or threatened, and that actually caused the victim to feel terrorized, frightened, or threatened. Going back to feelings. I feel like I was threatened. Oh, I feel like I was terrorized. Can't be moved by your feelings. You shouldn't be legislating law based on what people feel. This bill passed in the Democratic. This bill passed in the Democratic. This bill passed in the Democratic controlled House 59-50. It is now set to move to the Michigan State Senate for further reading. Michigan is real weird. It will be signed into law by Democratic State Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Oh God. If it passes. Penalties would be based on how the victim in court would feel about individual cases. Again, everything is about feelings. State Representative Emily Dievendorf told CBS News Detroit, we know that at this time in history, extremism is on the rise, but also our hate speech has translated into hate action that put our most vulnerable population at risk. Now, hate action that harm people, I'm totally against. But hate speech, man, you better get some thick skin. You better grow a set or whether it's a set of ovaries or balls. I have to say that because some of you are getting your feelings. But words should not bother you. Either you're going to let it bother you and you're going to react to it, or you're not going to react to it and don't let it bother you. But it shouldn't be legislated. But large swaths of Republicans have erupted in fury at the bill, largely pushed by Democrats arguing it encroaches on civil liberties and is a barrier of freedom of expression, which it is. Republican State Representative Steve Carroll told CBS News Detroit, threats and violence and things of that nature and protecting against crime is certainly something that we absolutely should be doing in Michigan, but we shouldn't be building that around the individual's feelings of being frightened. And I agree with that. Republican Representative Angela Rigas said the bill specifically targets conservatives who are politically opposed to radical gender ideology. No, baby. It's more than that. It's not just targeting Republicans. Anybody who may not agree with the way a person feel, think, or see themselves could be a target, especially if they commit violence. Now, if you commit violence against people who feel a certain way or think a certain way or believe a certain way, it ain't got to be gender. It could be faith or whatever. You taking out action against them, that's a crime. But you saying something about them ain't no crime. Stop that. We saw similar concerns. She said that the state of Michigan is now explicitly allowing the gender delusion issue to be used as a protected class. This opened up numerous issues when it comes to the courts and the continued weaponization of the system against conservatives. It's ain't about conservatives. We saw similar concerns when they wanted to pass blocks on conversion therapy. It seems Dems want to be in the business of telling people how to think. We are determined to keep choice and opinion a free choice despite this effort. But it's not just Republicans who have signed opposition to the bill. And it shouldn't be just Republicans. Professor Emmett Williams Wagner, an expert in constitutional law and former federal judge, has warned that the legislation could be used to clamp down on conservative narratives. He told Daily Wire, making no mistake about it, those advocating for this legislation will wield these policies as weapons capable of destroying conservative expression or viewpoints grounded in the sacred. One merely needs to look at the source of cases brought against schools, churches, business, individuals around our country. Proponents use these laws to silence the financially cripple those who dare to adhere to a different viewpoint and opposition in their agenda. Guys, forgive me, it's kind of hard for me to talk. I got this little sharp piece in my tongue that's bothering me. I mean, sharp piece in my tooth is irritating me. So, Michigan wants to control people's speech. We're going to look at the law in detail, or I'm going to go over somebody who's looking to the law, or I might have them as a guest on the show, or we'll look into their commentary about this. But we're going to look at the bill, and we're going to see what it actually say. I hope this is not true. It's unconstitutional. What is somebody, how you feel? If somebody don't agree with how you feel, if somebody don't agree with the way you think, if somebody don't agree with your lifestyle, if somebody don't support your lifestyle, and again, support don't mean hate. The person who, I had somebody say, if you love me, you'll support me. So you're saying if I don't support you, I hate you? Is that what you're saying? Get out of here. That's not true. Just because somebody don't support you in this effort don't mean they don't like you or they hate you. So stop saying if you love me, you'll support me. No, I love you, therefore I cannot support you because I know you might be going the wrong direction. But anyway, to try to punish people because they don't agree, because they may not think like you think, talk like you thought, just because they're not approaching you the way you want to be approached, that shouldn't be criminal. That shouldn't come with 5 years. That shouldn't come with 10 years. It should come with a $5,000 or $10,000 fine. Get out of here with that mess. You're infringing upon our rights as a citizen of free speech. You shouldn't get on the church because the church won't do a certain thing for you because of this. Now, we do have Equality Act and things like that. I get that. But if you're a person that identify as a man, a lady that identifies as a man, and I misstepped and called you a man, you should be getting that person fired or criminalized for that. Shouldn't take that even personal. People, we gotta leave. We gotta stop with this stuff, man. Oh, I feel like feelings don't mean nothing. I feel like even if somebody said, "Man, I'll bust you in your mouth." I'm not going to, Now, if you threaten me, I'm gonna protect myself. Now, if you actually trying to bust me in my mouth, no, we ain't gonna have that. And I don't agree with nobody saying they're gonna attack somebody because of how they feel or how they think, stuff like that. No, that person have that right to feel that way, think that way, because even though it's their right, it may not be right, but it's still their right. May not be right by you, but it's still their right to believe that. You don't believe it, you shouldn't be punished for it. You shouldn't be fined for it. Now, if you attack that person for it, that's a different story. Legislating this stuff is not constitutional. It shouldn't go nowhere. But Michigan is a weird place. And I never heard nobody say, if Michigan goes that way, the whole United States goes that way. It doesn't work that way. In New York, probably try to push similar laws because you know how we get down in New York. But it is very unconstitutional and it should be struck down. But all they need is a little time to push it. All they need is a little time to push it. I don't know what else to say about this, man. You're going to criminalize people for free speech because they're not agreeing with what you agree with, and because you got your feelings all in the bunch because they don't agree with you. Come on, that's stupid. That's childish. That's stupid. That's ignorant. You're upset with somebody else because they don't think like you think. Get out of here with this. And now you want to criminalize for it. That's stupid.
Bye.